Okay. Hello. I'm just been situated here. So today is day one of the Warriors Ritual Challenge. Hello, my name's Ashanti Edwards. If you're not aware or don't know my name, um, I created this channel for a few reasons, and I wanted to create a channel um, that brought together people that are working on themselves and create a conversation, a dialogue of that. But give me a second. Because I need to see if this is actually live and good. Just give me a moment. Yeah, you guys cannot see my screen yet. Um, okay, let me see. So, a little bit about this is more of a way of creating community of people that's wanting to create change in your own life and do it in a way that feels best for you instead of sticking to a cookie cutter way of doing it and going about creating your own custom um, habits. Well, I refer to it as rituals, but they're habits, they're rituals, they're routines, there's many words and ways to go about it. Um, just refreshing YouTube to make sure that I'm actually live. Okay. I think I'm gonna get my phone so I can see it because it's one thing to see it on your laptop, but it's another to see it. Just give me a moment. I'm not gone, but I'm just away from the camera real quick. Okay. Okay. I am live. I'm gonna have to update a few things. Okay. But I'm live on YouTube, just checking to make sure that it actually went through. Okay. So welcome to day one of the challenge. This is for people that want to create change in their lives and have a community to fall back on and talk to and come up with great tips, tricks, and ideas. Um, so, why am I doing this? So, one of the reasons why is we live in the age of, we live in many ages. You know, many people talk about living in the age of certain things. So, we live in the age of social media and how social media is been about a part of our lives for some time. If you're of a particular age, um, you may have been on social media for more than 2 to 3 years. I'll keep it at that. So we've seen the ebbs and flow of social media, and we started to lose a bit of touch of what reality is. If you live away from nature, if you don't live with plants, if you don't have anything that cultivates something that derives from nature, essentially you're removed from nature. And of course, in essence, that creates um I'm sorry. I have a cat and she's trying to eat. Okay. So when you're away from nature, that creates uh, a separation of yourself and, of course, nature, but not understanding the laws of nature, and that when you plant something, of course, it's not going to grow and sprout right away. But in social media, we see, especially with TikTok today, we see people create a video, 10 videos, and they have millions of views. And that instant gratification, although it may happen, but not always. And even if it does happen, then what? What do you do with that attention? What do you do with that? And instant gratification has its perks, and it's necessary, but also it's not necessarily um it's not reality. So so I was like, okay, if this isn't reality, if this isn't something that is derived from nature, and we live in the age of social media, everybody's on TikTok, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on something, and we're always thinking that people are blowing up, and we start to cultivate it in our lives. Like, why can't I just change already? Why can't it just happen so I can see the absolute change right away? So, and that's how I was feeling. And then one day I was scrolling on YouTube. Some people like to say that YouTube and different platforms, they are spying on you. Maybe they are. I'm not going to stand here and talk about that today. But what I will talk about is sometimes when you're thinking about something on social media, whatever it may be, most of the time it pops up. Even if you didn't even realize it. Like, even if you didn't realize that that was something that you was looking for, it pops up. And that's happened to me time and time again. So I was scrolling on YouTube, and this video on micro habits popped up on my YouTube as a suggestion. And once I clicked on it and watched it, it's about a 10-minute video. It has pictures, a description of different methods and things that you could cultivate to create habits. And I was like, wow, like just the simplest things. And we take those things for granted because they're not sexy. They're not sexy. They're not something that most people would consider as such a game changer because they started writing gratitude. But it's not necessarily about making a huge splash right away. And with creating micro habits, it's about creating small changes that will accrue and compound into you fill in the blank of what it is that you're working towards creating and doing. So, and I was thinking, like, if it's just that simple, why isn't it spoken more about? Maybe it is, and we're just not paying attention to it. So, and I was like, okay, so the magic is literally in subtle movements. So it's the magic in the subtle movements that is key to creating the change that we want to create in our lives. So, you know, some people, um, there's some of us that wants to create change in the world. And I agree, lots of things definitely needs to change. However, how could you change the world when you're still stuck, or feel like you're not doing enough, or if you're not really adapting or moving towards something, or doing something that's different with your life, or utilizing inspiration that may pop up in your head, and you convince yourself that maybe I shouldn't do it. And I didn't want it to be me that I didn't want I didn't want to be another person that just starts creating routines and have a bunch of calendars and all of that stuff. And although they're great, and there's lots of great references of it, and a lot of great tools and stuff that we could buy, but what wasn't there was holding community and having more accountability and creating that and having a community. So maybe there are people that are out there and I'm just not aware of them yet. However, I was like, in order to start changing and making and creating change, we have to start with the macro and increment small doses of change. Each month, we create or cultivate something that will help move us towards the next phase in our lives. We all live in phases, and we have to continuously evolve in those phases regardless of if we want to or not. It's going to eventually come to us, so we might as well utilize that and use it towards our advantage. It's not towards our detriment. It's actually very helpful to be able to have phases in our lives. That's how we're able to grow and create, and have experiences and wisdom. We cultivate wisdom based upon our learning and the insights that we gained within that. So, and again, I didn't want to be someone that creates calendars and journals and all that stuff. It was more about holding space. So, even if I do decide to create journals and even calendars, it's more based off of what works for me. It's not necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm playing with a lot of different things, and I'm just giving myself the time to be able to play. So, and I realized and seen the real value to creating a routine and using tools and calendars and journaling, to help keep me focused. So sometimes I'll journal freehand, writing on pen and pad, but sometimes I'll use my phone and I use different apps to create a a journal entry or something that's been on my mind, because sometimes we may not have paper on us, so we need to have that also accessible for us, even if we're away from or don't have paper. And most of us normally has our cell phone anyway. So even if you had like a text, um, what is that? A text? What is that called? A text edit text. I know on Mac they have the text edit, so you could just write down things, jot down stuff. Just something as simple as that. We don't need all these intricate apps and stuff. Of course, they're helpful and they may be easy to utilize, and eventually that would be something that could potentially be used, but it's not necessary to starting off. We get so wrapped up with the minute of things, we getting away from the essence at times, and I definitely fell for that for a little bit before I started utilizing um, the app that helps me structure my day. And it's for me, it's still a learning experience no matter how long I've been doing it, or no matter how short, because it hasn't necessarily been that long. It's been maybe 2 weeks, and I've been seeing a lot of change just based off of my habits and the things that I'm doing, and just playing with it and giving myself room to just be able to explore. and just to be able to be flexible and not create friction just because I want it to be done just like this and I think that this is how it should go, and just subtly shift and a um create a log of or a review of how my day went with it, or how did my day go, period, with anything that I'm using, so I could know what worked, what didn't, what can I improve, what can I do to better the situation, and just take it day by day. So that was my basically, this is where I'm coming from with creating rituals and ritualizing our lives, ritualizing and making it feel special. You know, instead of just doing a task to get it over with, why don't we just like put on a performance and create a performance out of our rituals, even if it is washing the dishes, even if it is dusting the your your glass materials, or whatever gets dusty in your home, like ritualizing it, maybe putting some music on, maybe getting yourself in that mood of movement, and creating excitement out of it, creating excitement out of our day, creating it and making it worth living, having the 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 feeling of wanting to live just because you want to dance and feel the beat of the rhythm and just move forward. And that was basically in a nutshell why I started creating warrior the daily warrior ritual kit. It was because things could become boring and stale. And even if you're doing it, after a while it becomes mindless and then you're like tired of doing it. And yeah, after a while you may become tired of doing, dancing and stuff like that. And I agree, sometimes you may need to take a break, and that's perfectly fine. We all need to get away from the things so we could go away from it and come back, even if it's a day or two. But regardless, these are things that we need to utilize and do for ourselves anyway, to be able to clean our homes and have a clean home that we are proud of, or being able to do whatever task. If you have a dog, to take them out, like ritualize that, ritualize anything. Like, this is what this challenge is about, to put life back into the small tasks that we do every day. So day one is about, this is what it's all about. So, since we're in day one of the daily ritual challenge, okay, I'm just waiting for, okay, now I got it. Okay. Um, Let me just do something. So, that was basically my motivation towards moving forward with this. Like, just putting life back into the things that we're doing, and even adding to it and creating something that we want to do moving forward, because we all want to do something different and have change. So why not start creating it based on the things that we're already doing, and add as we go, instead of feeling like we have to sacrifice certain tasks that we have. Like, maybe you have an extra hour, let's say for instance that you scroll on TikTok for an hour a day. Instead of using that time for TikTok, maybe you use that time for your ritual, or maybe it is that you're at work. You could create a ritual maybe during your lunch hour, or like, just get creative on how you ritualize the things that you want to do in your life. It's all about creativity. Nothing has to be stale and stuck in the way that it seems because we do it every day. Okay. I was just okay. All right. So let me share my screen real quick so you guys could see exactly what's on the agenda for today for the challenge. For all of those that are taking it serious, this is for serious people that's working towards really changing their lives and wanting change in their lives. So, and I'll briefly go over what it is. So, and I have the link. The link will be in the comments and on Facebook. I mean on YouTube. I'm not on Facebook. Well, I have a Facebook page, but or account, but I'm not streaming on Facebook. Okay. All right. Um, so I'm gonna share this really quick, and then I'm going to go back and sharing. Um. Okay. I don't understand that. Um. Because I know it literally just worked. Sometimes no matter how laid out your plan is, things just don't go according to it just because you thought it would. And that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is upload this file so I could share it, so I could show the agenda, even though it's going to be in the description, but that's a briefing. Dang, I can't. It's not available. Okay. I have this pretty sign, and I was like, I was going to share it, and YouTube is not YouTube. This app is like, nope. Okay. Let me. Either way, I still need to speak about this regardless of if it's shared or not. And the point is to be able to talk on it. Let me see. I want to share it and I'm going to share it. So I'm going to just continue to speak about some things. Oh, fudge. What happened? Okay. I don't know. I pressed something and it was like, nope. Okay. YouTube doesn't have, I mean, Google has no permission to be going live on my or showing my stuff on here. Um, I was like, I want to create something that's interactive and it's for the community, it's for the people. It's for the people. So I don't want to quit this live and stop recording for me to be able to share it. So it's just not going to be shared today. Um, what I can, what I'm going to put it on Pinterest and let that and share it there. since I'm not able to share it, that was annoying. So basically, let me see one more time. All right, so day one is about identifying your it's about identifying your current routine and habits. And you make a list out of the activities that you currently do each day and how many times, also as well as the times at which you do them. So so day one isn't necessarily about let's jump into it. So day one is more let's identify what we're already doing, and also let's evaluate. So to further this is to evaluate what it is that we're doing each day, and is it serving us or is it hindering us? Is it something that's going to be helpful and you're okay with it and maybe it needs to be revamped, or is it fine the way it is and you just want some extra tips on how you could add on to it? Like, those are some of the questions that you have to ask yourself. Write it down and start paying more attention to what it is that you're doing and also how long it takes. So that's something that I'm not the best at, is timing my um it's timing how long it takes or what I'm doing. So let's say for instance, like this live, I didn't put the toggle, I didn't click toggle for to be able to measure how long I'm on live. Like I see it on the screen for with me, but if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know. And that right there in of itself is one of those things that we have to do, is identify the things that we want to do and create a list. So create a list of the things that you're currently doing, and even create a, so let's do two lists. So it's two lists. Create a list of things that you're currently doing, and then create another list of the things that you would like to do. And even if the list is long, you'll create a you're just creating a list of possibilities of things that you're starting to do. And or no, create a possibilities of the things that you would like to start to do. So you may not be doing it yet, but maybe you'll implement one thing from that list, and eventually you'll toggle things on and maybe even eliminate certain things that's no longer serving and helpful for you moving forward. So um so so you want to start by identifying your goals and priorities. What are the most important things that you want to accomplish each day or week? So even though this is a daily ritual, you also maybe you want to cultivate something for the week, each week. So maybe based off of doing the daily rituals, you'll also be sure to document your progress and be very truthful. Do not lie to yourself. This is for you. This isn't uh, an assignment. In no shape or form, you shouldn't be getting in trouble for this. I'm not going to assume I know anybody's life. However, I don't believe you should be getting in trouble for any of this. However, it's not going to serve you if you lie. So to yourself, don't lie to yourself. Sometimes it's easier to lie and feel like this is how it really is. In actuality, it's not. So be truthful in what it is that you're doing. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's okay that maybe one day you didn't do it for as long as you thought you were going to, or maybe you didn't have a chance to. Um, it's okay that you felt like that, and that may have happened, because at the end of the day, our routines are not set in stone, and they are flexible. Maybe you do a routine religiously every day at 10 o'clock in the morning. However, due to maybe a family emergency, you weren't able to do it that day. That's fine. What you may want to do is maybe you'll make it up today. I mean, that later that day or the following day, you'll do it a little extra longer. That's how you could supplement and take away that guilt or maybe that shame of not being able to stick to it. This is about being flexible, becoming more loose with our routines and not beating ourselves up. So it is important, and we realize that our routines and our rituals are important. However, sometimes other things take priority that pop up in our lives, and we have to respect that and not be frustrated or create a friction creating friction in our heads or hearts, and not and again, this is what I mean about not being in flow with nature. We have to realize that there's an ebb and flow with all things, and even though that we feel like we didn't live up to what we were supposed to, that may not be so true. It's just sometimes things happen the way they're supposed to, and we just don't see it or realize it yet. So, and I would say, as a way to also improve your routine, is to create an expectations list. Expect there to be interruptions at times. Expect there to be times when you're not going to be able to perform said ritual. You know, instead of expecting to always be rigid with how we execute, we should also expect the unexpected, because things happen. Sometimes we get knocked off course, but it's also we have to learn how to correct it again and get back on course. Um, and let's talk about, all right, so, and I mentioned documentation. So, a great way to document is whether it's on the text app. Um, if you have Apple and Android, I don't know if Android has that, but you could download different apps, or you could just utilize the one that comes with the phone, whatever phone you have. Or maybe you have a tablet and that's what you're using. You can use that. Anything's really, you can use that, or you could just use a plain old pencil, pen, and notepad. You don't need all of these bells and whistles to be able to track your progress. It just, sometimes technology makes things easy. And maybe in the beginning, the technology is a distraction. And if it is, sometimes it is for certain people. Don't use it. Play with both. Play with utilizing paper, you play with utilizing different printables, utilizing different, um, just play with it until something feels right. There's nothing set in stone. You don't have to get it right. It is okay if today wasn't the best, but maybe, but with you utilizing reflection and being able to track your progress, you'll write it in your notebook, write it in your app, whatever, and you'll talk about write about what emotions and that that came up when you were working on your task. Like, what was your experience with that this day? And we have to, these are some of the things that will be a constant throughout this challenges: journaling and reflecting, reflect upon it, and to realize that sometimes things are just not going to go the way we thought, and that's perfectly fine that it's not going that way. Maybe that's a sign to change, and don't fight the change, especially if it's obvious. Don't fight it. I would say analyze it, and if you feel like this is definitely the route I need to go, you go that route. Um, for so long, we fight ourselves over the things that we should be doing and changing in our lives. And the only time certain people change is when they're forced to by outside force. Why not start utilizing the resistance that builds up in us as a form of, okay, this is what my body is telling us or telling me I need to do. So I need to start changing or paying attention to this, and, utilizing our body as a form of, this is what works, or this is what doesn't work. And being okay, certain things are just not going to work all the time. It is perfectly fine for things not to work. And um, tell me about your experiences, your thoughts on how it is that you're going with identifying your your what it is that you're going through, as far as your priorities and your goals. Like, what is it that is you're doing um that is helping you move forward, or maybe it's not helping you anymore but it did at one point. Identify that as well. And even just sometimes just free form writing, sometimes maybe speaking to yourself. I know sometimes speaking out loud, it helps jog memories for myself and jog ideas, and that could be also a form of utilizing this as well. Routinely speaking to yourself, ritualize speaking to yourself. After a while, when you start hearing yourself speak all the time, it'll help. It may help you. It could really help you utilize ritualizing um your life, and ritualizing the things that matter to you, and changing and adapting to the things that may or may not necessarily help anymore. So this is day one of the daily warrior ritual challenge. So a few things about this challenge that I wanted to speak about. Um, I hope that what I was speaking about was helpful. Uh, Feedback is definitely um, wanted. Please put it in the comments. Uh, if this helped, like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe so you could get an update of when I go live again tomorrow. It's a 30-day challenge. So it's an everyday challenge that we're doing every day. It's available for anybody that just clicks on this page and wants to be a part of changing our lives before 2023. This is about utilizing change in a subtle way. We're utilizing the magic of subtle movement. Magic wouldn't be magic without the subtleness. And before the new year comes, establishing this will potentially be so gratifying for yourself. So instead of leaning upon social media as a instant gratification, that's a false gratifying feeling. We could start utilizing this as a gratification, as a beacon of hope for moving forward into um, the spring of next year. So right now we're basically ascending into the winter months, and this is going to be the darkest nights coming forward, and this is where a lot of people start to sometimes feel isolated, depending on if you have good experiences, bad experiences with the holidays. Um, and this is great time to just like keep things close with your tribe, your community, and just, it's you're not alone in wanting to change your life. We're all working towards doing something, and it's important to start cultivating and creating and coming together as a community of people that just wants something different. No, I'm not famous. and I'm not on top of things and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean I don't have, and you don't have something to not, you don't have, like, we have something for the world to experience and to share. And even if it is something as simple as creating a routine, this could potentially set you forth into doing something and creating something that's uniquely you and beautiful, getting back into being ourselves and doing what lit us up as children and creating little micro habits, ritualizing it, creating dance, creating movement, just moving, stretching, dancing, feeling alive, being feeling like we're tapped into something. Um, so that was my thoughts and feelings and motivations towards this, is just wanting to have that hope even in the darkest, coldest months of the year. If you live in America, of course. I'm not speaking of if you're streaming this or watching this during the time of this recording, then and you're in America, it's most likely cold where you're at. However, if you're somewhere else, this is still very useful. It may not be winter. However, it most likely is changing seasons there too. And rituals are still helpful for whomever needs to just create a change in their lives that eventually, you know, it could build a life of its own if you tend to it in a way that is nurturing, and it could be very beneficial. And we're also in a world of sharing our experiences. I've learned the most from the people that I have never heard of in my life, and found their information, and it blows my mind, the pure liquid gold that the people have, that is just so, it's just potential, just waiting to just come forth into the world. And it just takes one moment of realization. Just realize you're worth it. Realize it. And creating these habits and creating change in our lives just one step at a time. Just make it very small, digestible. You create a habit that's something that's small. Make it so small that it seems like, oh, I could do this in 5 minutes. That's the point. 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10, 15 minutes, maybe the most. If that's something that's what you want to do. Ritualize it, create it, want it, do it. You know, this is the hope, this is the spark that will help you move forward, and even creating your own New Year's resolutions. Like, this could be something that you utilize. And on New Year's resolutions, a few years ago, I was learning about um, utilizing rituals. And so this isn't necessarily new to me. Most people, it's not, rituals are not new to anybody. And when we think about rituals, we think about maybe, like, I guess I could say, we think about something from the ancient past sometimes. We may think about maybe it's some type of hippy dippy spirituality thing. And spirituality isn't hippy dippy, by the way. I don't believe in that. I think spirituality holds a place. It is very helpful, useful, and very much alive in this day and age. Most people realize that. And rituals don't have to just be about the seasons, even though you should potentially start utilizing them for the seasons if that resonates for you. Um, but rituals don't have to only solely be for the season, for seasonal stuff. Um, we can ritualize anything that we need to get done. So let's say, for instance, you've had a idea of starting your own Etsy store selling, novelty items like Christmas gear. And yeah, it may only be useful for once a year. However, that's something that you really wanted to do. How do you move forward doing it? Ritualize learning how to start an Etsy store. Ritualize learning about Etsy, learning about the SEOs of Etsy and utilizing that. Like, you take it step by step. You don't just necessarily just jump into it without fully looking into what it is that it entails. It is very inspiring, it is very fun, and but it takes a lot of work. And a lot of people don't realize that although it's online, it doesn't mean people didn't put in the time and effort. It takes so much time to utilize to create a video, to go stream live, to do a lot of things. And to I genuinely appreciate the people that's been posting consistently for years, and it's not easy. It's not, but if it's not easy, and that's fine. It's not, but it's fine that it's not easy, but it's so worth it, especially if you're expressing and doing the things in which that you truly want to do. So, um ritualizing things are just not about seasonal stuff, or it's not just about um like, I guess, like, I could say certain religions and such. It's also about just what it is that you want to do and create excitement with. So you the next day you're excited to do it again, because now you brought joy, or some type of like energy of feeling again. So that was my why, basically, in of a nutshell. Just creating change subtly, so it's an impact. So this time next year we could be speaking about, you see, I created all of these rituals and my life has completely changed, even if it's not a full year yet. Like, these rituals could really create something in of itself within the next 3 months, 4 months. I'm not going to say how long it will take necessarily for you and what it is that you're trying to utilize it for. But if you're consistent with it and you're really taking the time to monitor your progress and reflecting upon it and taking the time to do this, and knowing that this is very important to you, that will be the most useful and um very necessary thing to move forward in your life. So, um so a few things about the ritual kit, and also the each tier. So there's 3 tiers, and I created each tier with the intentions of creating a free community. So all 3 tiers are obviously, um, so each tier could obviously join this live and watch every day. And that was the intention, for it to be interactive no matter what tier you're in. And I don't want anybody to feel excluded. But the first tier is for people that just wants to be a part of something. I do realize that it's the holidays and certain people may not have to be able to necessarily join right now, but that's not the reality for everybody. So this is for people that are in need of change, but in community, but just would rather go the free route. Okay, so there's that. So it's just being a part of this community and just watching. So you could get the free download. It's a donation based. Um, so it's the Warriors permission slip. So it's giving you permission to move forward. So no matter what tier you're in, you'll be able to get that. So it's in the first tier, which is free. The second tier, which is for people that's paying 1788, and the third tier is for a customized plan for 90 days. And um, that price tag is 888, and that will only be available for 3 people. Um, and so my intentions with this was to cultivate, create um, community for people that needs to change. However, we could work toward, so the 888 is for people that, of course, they could create their own custom if they want to, and they just want to be a part of an interactive small group, a smaller group than online on YouTube. So that's more of the intentions for that. The 1788, it's, you get the ritual kit as well with the permission slip, and with that you'll also get the community as well, like I just said. So that's basically what it is. So it's 3 tiers. So the first one is just for free. The second one, so the first one's for free with the permission slip that's available. The second one is 1788. You can buy the ritual kit, and each day we go based upon what day we're on. So this is day one, so you'll click day one as complete and move on to the second day, and you could be um, aware of where we're going each day. And that's also available for the third tier for the 888 people that purchase that. So let's say you just want to be a part of a small group. You don't necessarily want nothing customized for your 30-day plan, but maybe you want a 90-day plan. So that'll be, but what it's for as well. Um, it's really flexible in that concept. So if you're interested in that, I have the link to sign up for that for either tiers, or all tiers are available. Um, I would suggest everybody do the permission slip, because when we give ourselves permission to do the things that we want to do in our lives, we open space to possibilities, and we're committing to ourselves. So that's a commitment to yourself. The permission slip to commit to yourself as a warrior to do the things that you may not want to do but need to do. So it's not always about giving into your wants, it's doing what's needed to be done. And this is why I called it the way I called it, about being a warrior. Warriors do what is needed, not necessarily what is wanted. So that's basically, yeah. Um I wanted to say a few more things. Did I forget? No. Um oh, about the permission slip. There's a section in the beginning where it's blank. So it'll say, let me pull it up. I know I can't share it, but I can speak about it based off of what I see. Um, oh, here it goes. Um, where it go? Oh no, that's um. So there's a blank space, and I left it intentionally blank for those that. So this community does not discriminate against any forms of religion, whether you believe in religion, whether you believe in mainly spirituality. I honestly don't care what you believe in. It's not up to me to, you know, our beliefs are our own, and I respect all people's beliefs. And As long as you are willing to respect everybody else's beliefs, no matter if it clashes with yours or if it's in alignment, you should never infringe on anybody's belief systems. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So it's the second line in the permission slip. It's I will always honor blank. And I want to speak about that real quick. So whether you believe in God, whether you believe in Allah, but whether you believe in the Most High, we all have beliefs. And even if you don't even believe in any of those, um, even if you don't believe in any of that, any of the religions, none, no spirituality, if you're atheist, um, that is also your decision, and there's no discrimination of about people for people that don't really preserve any religion or spirituality or beliefs. Um, that is your choice, and that's 1,000% respected in this community. We respect all walks of life, no matter what is your belief, as long as it's not harmful and or harming anybody. That is what I mean by that. That's the only, so there's no discrimination at all, as long as it's not harmful, of course. So I left it blank for anybody that's willing, for anybody that wants to download it and to sign off on this and sign off on you taking the time to dedicate yourself to something worth doing for yourself. So, um, and a little bit on the first line, about the ancestors. My views on ancestors are different, and I understand certain people think the ancestors may be considered evil. I'm going to take this from a scientific standpoint instead of a spirituality standpoint. And the reason why is because it makes absolutely no sense to not pay homage to those that came before you, because they're literally embedded in your DNA. So I've seen a video talking about how leave the dead where the dead is. And that's a form of necromancy or whatever other nonsense that's being spewed about the ancestors. And that is not my view at all. And I respect all walks of life and all views. And I will respect your view on that as well. So if you don't necessarily agree with that, it's your permission slip. You do what you want with it. My view, however, I will speak on this. I It's not debatable. I will never renege on this. I wholeheartedly believe in this, and nobody can ever tell me different. And I hope that you could stand in your conviction as well. The ancestors are here for us through our DNA, and it is scientific proof that our DNA is linked to our ancestors. They are not dead. If you're alive right now listening to this, you're not dead. So you can say what you want about it being necromancy and stuff like that. Please look up definitions of necromancy. That's literally zombie talk. Zombies are a form of necromancy. Your ancestors are not rising from the dead. They're not dead. They're very much alive and thriving and living in yourself. And if you speak about them being dead, you're literally, in my eyes, when you start saying that the ancestors are dead, you're saying that you're essentially, that's how I see it. I'm not speaking death on to anybody. When I hear someone says, "Oh, they're dead, leave them dead," in essence, you're talking about your DNA being dead. And I will never for the life of me understand that. They are very much alive. Speak life into yourself, your ancestors. When you speak life, life comes and it'll flow. Speak life. The ancestors are alive through your DNA. If you don't believe nor trust me, there's plenty of videos that you could watch that speaks about this and talks about this. And there's scientific proof that they are very much alive and thriving in you. That junk DNA that they like to speak about, it's not junk. And I'll leave it at that. There's many people that talk about it. Greg Braden is a great source of information when it comes to speaking about ancestors and stuff like that. And he talks about it in a scientific way. He doesn't necessarily talk about it in a spirituality way. So I know some people are like, oh, that's just more hippie talk. It's not hippie talk. There's real proof that is that creates a structure behind what the elders today that are alive and those that are no longer here were talking about. We must pay homage to those that came before us, whether they are in our DNA or the people that came before us. We must honor them. They came here, they were here for a reason. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. There wouldn't be any social media, there wouldn't be any real opportunities. So please, genuinely, I feel so genuinely um it's necessary to talk about this because it saddens me to hear people speaking death on the things in which that are in them. So um that's what I wanted to speak about as far as the permission slip. um I would say sign that permission slip today and date it for today. So in a month's time, of course, I would say read it and constantly read it. And consistency is necessary to create a habit as well, and to maybe even ritualize this permission slip. I won't read it completely because I want people to download it and have it. So I'm going to put all of the links. They're all in one site, and you could click on whichever one works for you and sign up for it. Sign up for the permission slip and still tune in live every day. Sign up for the ritual kit. So it's a virtual ritual kit. I don't want it to be sounding misleading. It's a virtual ritual kit. You're not getting anything other than what's already there. I may add a few extra things. So I know I have to add a few extra things in it, but other than that, it's basically done. And then also the top tier, the specialized group for only 3 people. Again, you have to fill that out, a form on that site, on the site that's provided. Uh, I'm not just accepting anybody. You have to be willing to be a part of a group, and there's certain energies is not acceptable, and I will not let anybody deteriorate the integrity of what it is that's being built within this community. So whether it's within the concentrated group or within the group that's on Facebook. So that's about it. I apologize if you hear that. There's a fire truck going past my home. So that's basically it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, again, please leave it in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, share, share. Tomorrow will be day 2. It will be about an hour long. Um, Hopefully, you guys will have done this first task for yourselves. I'm actually going to be doing that very soon, actually. Um, By the way, I'm doing this challenge as well with you guys. This is not just me spitting it out. Like, this is for us. Like, although I might be the host of this group, I'm very much a part of the group. I'm the group too. We're all the group. So this is an interactive way because as you learn, I learn, we learn, we grow. And that's all that there is to this. And I will speak to you all guys tomorrow. Um, there's really, I believe I will start coming on live about one. I'm shooting for 12 o'clock, but if that's not possible, the latest will be 2. I know I started late. It was because I was getting things prepared. But I didn't want to not do this because this is a part of ritualizing the live, going live, you know, creating change in different aspects of all our lives, not just you, me too. And on that note, I will speak to you all on the next live. Take care of yourself, love yourself, love thyself, learn thyself, heal thyself. Take care.